Hi there. I consider myself a pretty lucky guy for a lot of reasons, but one of those reasons is my wife likes to cook and to bake, and I like to eat. And I think that's a pretty good division of labor myself. Some may argue the point. Anyway, I thought because I'm so good to her, I would turn a French rolling pin so she can bake me some butter tarts. So I have this blank. I don't know what kind of wood it is. My sister got this years ago. Somewhere she worked, they brought in some heavy machinery, and this wood was used for the pallet. It's extremely hard. And I've got a piece here 21 inches long, 2 inches square. I found the center on each end and marked a 1 1/4 inch circle. My burr center is 1 inch, so I should be able to turn this down to that 1 1/4 with no problem. And of course on the other end, the live center won't be in the way as well. I want to taper this down from about 4 or 4.5 inches from each end, leaving a good 12 inches for rolling the dough. So why don't you follow Mr. Nice Guy here over to the lathe. Let's see what we can do with this for my wife. First thing I want to do is turn this to a cylinder. Boy, would it be nice to have a 24-inch tool rest. Maybe one of these days. I'll be turning this at 1000 RPM using my 1 1/4 spindle roughing gouge. I have some beeswax here. I haven't tried this on here before. I've usually used paste wax. Just want to see if this will work. Might be easier just rubbing it on like this. Now let's see if it'll slide along there a little better. Amazing what a difference something small like that can make. Alright, that's pretty close to a cylinder. Now I'm going to do some sanding. Alright, to sand this, I'm going to use my sanding board, which by coincidence has sandpaper just slightly longer on the board than this spindle I'm turning. And I'm going to start with 80 grit because it's a little rough in here. Just hold it down on there and let it spin in reverse to take the dust away from me. I'll be wearing my air shield to keep the dust out of my lungs, and I won't be able to use my dust collector because of the camera placement. All right, it's looking pretty good. Now let's see what it measures out to. 1 63/64 of an inch. And on the other end, 2 inches exactly. So I'm out 1/64 of an inch over 21 inches. I think I can live with that. Just see if we can see any light under this ruler. No, it's looking real straight. Sanding board does a real good job. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on from here with full sheets. I'm going to hold it against here as it's spinning, and after each grit I will take a small piece and go with the grain as well. That's feeling real good. Right now I've got it up to 120 grit, and I'm going to go through the grits. I'll be back after I finish the sanding. The blank is 21 inches long, and I want to have 12 inches of it flat for laying out any dough, to roll it out nice and flat. So I'm going to come in 4.5 inches from each end, total of 9. Leaving that 12 there. One right there. All right, now I want to taper these down using my skew chisel from here to here, and I have that 1¼ inch circle drawn. I'm a firm believer that turning fast, that is spinning fast, gives you a cleaner cut. So I'm going to be turning this at 2000 RPM. All right, I like the feel of that. I need to sand this now. Before I do that, of course, I'm going to do this end. And I'm going to do this end to start with the spindle roughing gouge. It's much faster. I did this one with the skew chisel simply because I need the practice and I enjoy turning it. But now I'm going to save some time and take this down most of the way with the spindle roughing gouge. All right, see how close these are. This end is at 1 23/64. This is at 1 23/64. Wow, okay. Guess I'll stop there. All right, now I'm just going to sand these two ends. I'm going to erase the pencil marks with an eraser. Woodworkers usually know that you can't sand pencil marks out very well for some reason. Helps a lot to first erase them. So I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to sand these two ends. I'll be back to show you what I've come up with. And there it is. I think it's beautiful. It's sanded to 240 grit. Now, I was tempted to go beyond that, but I was told that if you sand them too fine, the flour won't stick to the rolling pin, that it'll roll off too quickly. I did not know that flour had to stick to a rolling pin, but that's another thing I've learned. Now I think I'm going to just finish this with mineral oil. I don't think I want to do anything fancy, and I want it to be food safe. On the ends, I just rounded them over a little bit with sandpaper just to make sure they're not a sharp edge. Now I'm going to take it off, sand the ends a little bit, get rid of those lines that are on there, and I'll be back. The ends are now sanded. I'm not going to try to disguise the fact that there's a hole in the end there, and I'm not going to try to disguise the fact that the spur center was driving this. Just one thing left to do before I put the mineral oil on. All right, I have it back between centers, and this time in the headstock I've got a Jacob's chuck, and I have a Forstner bit, a 7/8 inch Forstner bit in there. I'm going to have it spinning, use my hand to hold this from turning, and my right hand will be turning the tailstock in, driving it into the bit. And let's just see how this works. Turning at 150 RPM. And I think that's deep enough for my logo coin. So I'll glue that in, and I'll be back. Now this is the reason I wanted to leave the spur drive marks around there. I may be the only one, but I think it looks pretty cool surrounding my logo coin like that. Now what I want to do is find out whether this mineral oil is going to let this grain pop. See if it brings it out better. And I think it's doing that. Now, as I said, the reason I want to use mineral oil, aside from the fact it looks good, is that it is food safe. And it's pretty obvious if you're going to be rolling dough with this, you want it to be food safe. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come back next time. If you think this is worth sharing with your friends, feel free to do that. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day in your shop, and be safe. Bye-bye now.